What a pulsating game of football. Fantastic Sunday game. No, it wasn't. That was that wasn't a great watch. It wasn't a great spectacle. Um, Two teams that didn't want to lose the game of football. That's how I felt that game was sort of trending towards. Because when you look at how both teams played, it felt as if it was two teams that didn't want to lose the game. More so Arsenal than Liverpool. But I did think in the second half, there was some momentum that Liverpool picked up. And to be honest, they had to pick it up because the performance they put in the first half was utterly dreadful. Outside of the back four, that is, the performance they put in the first half was utterly dreadful. Arsenal just had their number from a defensive standpoint. Mosquera was pocketing Ekitike. Calafiori wasn't really letting Salah get his game off. Gakpo wasn't really getting the ball. McAllister, Wirtz, and Gravenberch were nullified, muzzled. Literally, Arsenal didn't let them do anything. It was a very, very comfortable game for Arsenal off the ball. Arsenal already strong defensively, very, very strong side defensively. But yeah, Liverpool, they just didn't have any answer to Arsenal in the first half. And it felt like it was always a game of fine margins that was going to take something special from either team to win the game of football. And that's what happened. That's what happened. And at the time, like I genuinely felt that Szoboszlai could do something. I just want to say, like Szoboszlai, that was actually a strong performance. Like I've seen better performances from Szoboszlai at right back in the last two games than I have when he's played in midfield. Like he's been all action. He's been very much locked down in terms of the winger opponents that he's had. He even played this switch, this diagonal to, I think it was Wirtz in the second half. I was like, wow, Szoboszlai. And then of course he scored that fantastic goal. It was a good performance from him today. But again, caveat, it's a good performance from right back. But it was a good performance and a fantastic goal. But yeah, not much else to that game, man. Arsenal, they're a strong team defensively, but we already knew that. They're a very strong team defensively. And mind you, that was with no Saliba. He went off early. That Mosquera came on and he really got touch tight with Ekitike and he didn't let Ekitike do anything. Ekitike got no change out of him. No change out of him. Mo Salah, what a honking performance, man. He has had a poor start to the season by his standards. Very, very poor start. But I don't know, like if I'm an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't be too upset because it can happen. I know they've got that record, but it can happen. You can go to Anfield, put in a performance like that, and still leave with 0 points. It can happen. But I do want to speak about the fine margins because I look at that game, and yes, I know Liverpool at the home side. Yes, I know that something had to give after that terrible performance in the first half. But it felt like Liverpool wanted that game more than Arsenal did. And okay, great. It took a ridiculous goal because they still couldn't really penetrate Arsenal with clear-cut chances in open play. And it took a ridiculous goal from 35 to 40 yards to get it. But it almost felt as if one team were going to win it, it probably would have been Liverpool, as critical as that is to say. And I feel that way because, I don't know, like, we spoke about the game on the Big Six beforehand, pre-match analysis, and we were talking about how both teams were coming into it with 100% records despite not really playing to their level. And when you look at Liverpool today, Liverpool, in fairness to Arsenal, Liverpool had all but maybe one starter missing today. And that was Frimpong. Every other player within their best 11, as it stands, was available and was starting. Whereas Arsenal were missing Saka, Odegaard was on the bench, and then obviously Saliba went off injured, right? But Liverpool, for me, I don't know, like, when they were in the ascendancy, it felt as if they were trying to commit more into winning that game. And what I mean by that is this, like Arsenal, we saw the lineup before the game, and when you look at the work Arsenal have got through this window, the players that they brought in, the squad looks beefy. Like, it looks like a quality squad from top to bottom now. And you look at the starting lineup and you're just thinking, this is not a starting lineup that's going out to win the game. This is a starting lineup that's going out to contain. Sure, they've got players in transition in Martinelli and Madueke alongside Gyökeres, but they've got two guys on the flanks who aren't exactly known for their technical security, nor are they known for their decision making, which is what you need when you're playing in transition. You need good decision makers. And you look at, even in the first half alone, Arsenal's defensive shape was set. Out of possession, they were really solid, but they had moments to break on Liverpool. And Martinelli, I think 3 of them fell to him in the first 20 or 30 minutes, and he fumbled every single one of them. Okay, Konate had a fantastic game today by his standards because he's been terrible in the other 2 games. But you just can't help but wonder if a better player with more quality, better decision making, and just better end product was in that position, you never know what could have happened. But he went with Martinelli, and unfortunately, what you see is what you get with Martinelli. Fumbled. Madueke on the other side, I felt like it was an interesting battle with Kerkez. It was a good battle, because there were times where Madueke looked like he had the edge of Kerkez, and Kerkez would come back in at the last minute and make a really good tackle or some last-ditch blocks. I actually thought Kerkez had a good game today. Again, I'm judging based off what we've seen in the last 2 games. The last 2 games, he's been on the ropes. And today he was up against an opponent who's faster, stronger, taller, and he coped relatively well. But again, you have to ask yourself as an Arsenal fan, if that was Bukayo Saka, or maybe if that was Waneri, would it have been different in terms of the opportunities? Because when Arsenal did play those balls into the channels, yeah, there was space there. There was space into the channels, and the wingers were getting some moments, 1v1. Just didn't really make much of it. And then even in the second half as well, like, so Arteta, he brings on Odegaard and Eze. I'm looking at this now thinking, okay, you know what? The subs have come on a bit too late, or maybe not even too late, later than I would have thought they should have been coming on, but it's still 0-0. You've kept Liverpool quiet, even though they're in the ascendancy, but you've kept them quiet in terms of clear-cut chances and opportunities up to this point, or even attempts. Now you're bringing on the big hitters to try and exploit that space, but actually to go one step further and create that final action, whether it's a shot or a decisive pass or better service into Gyökeres. But when they came on, I still felt like I saw the same Arsenal. Balls moving slow. Even when the transition opportunities were there, I'm seeing not as many bodies being dedicated to the cause to try and go forward. Like, I get it. 1 point is better than no points. But when those players are coming on the pitch, surely you should change your approach somewhat, because your plan, if we're being fair, your plan, it's fair to say it worked. You played a team to stifle Liverpool, and it did. You're at 70-something minutes, and it's still 0-0, and they don't have Eze to bring off the bench. They don't have Odegaard to bring off the bench. They're bringing on Curtis Jones, who's a good technical player, but he's not better than Odegaard. He's not better than Eze. But Curtis Jones came on and he made a difference to Liverpool. Okay, it wasn't a great difference, but it made a difference. He added to the bubbling sort of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? He added to what was a clear rising intent to try and win that game of football. And I just felt like, okay, you've brought attacking players on, but you're still not really taking the handbrake off in terms of attackers. Why are you not hitting the channels quick enough? Why am I still seeing that you're attacking and there's only 3 or 4 players for the counter-attack? Why didn't I see fullbacks maybe bomb a bit more forward? Like, at what point are you allowed to sort of take risk? Because you've got a sturdy base that have defended well the entire game. Now you're bringing on players who require you to play it a little bit differently, right? Go and win the game. And it might sound harsh saying this, and it probably is harsh, because, again, They've lost because of a ridiculous goal. Otherwise, it ends 0-0. But with the players that Arsenal were able to bring on, I don't know, I just felt like the handbrake was still on. It wasn't unleashed, or it wasn't released, sorry. And when you look at Man City today, make no mistake about it, right now, I think what we saw at Anfield was a combination of the two best teams in the league, and the two teams I think that are going to be going right at it up until the end for the title. Man City will be there, but when I watch Man City play in comparison to these two teams, just put it this way, Man City could not defend the way Liverpool defended today, and they can't defend the way Arsenal defended today. Yeah? And this is a Liverpool team that have been out of sorts in the previous games before this, but you look at Man City today, the way in which Brighton were just able to flip that game on its head. And Brighton are no mugs as well. Brighton, they're a solid side, and I get that the Premier League is competitive, but when you're talking about winning the league, I don't know, there's something missing there with Man City. So I felt like this was a potential moment where Arsenal could have laid a bit of a marker down and said, you know what, Man United away, Liverpool away, 7 or 9 out of 9 points. That's strong. That's a statement. And of course, the narrow loss, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't ruin Arsenal's title challenge, right? It's clear that they're going to be in this right up until the end. But it's games like that, with the plethora of options that you've added, could you have done a bit more? Could you have committed more forward to maybe create openings for Gyökeres? Could you have brought on Eze and Odegaard earlier? Why did Mikel Merino have to last as long as he did? I actually felt a bit sorry for Gyökeres today. I did. Sorry, there's a game on in the background, but I felt a bit sorry for Gyökeres. I know he didn't play well, but it's not easy. You're up against Van Dijk and Konate. Those are two of the best centre-backs in the league. Van Dijk was brilliant today, mind you. Konate was brilliant as well. It's not an easy game. He's not the only one that's going to get muzzled. Haaland has gone there many a times, and they've pocketed him. I sound like an Arsenal sympathiser, but it's the truth. It's the truth. I actually felt a bit sorry for him because what service did he have? What service did he have? How did Arteta facilitate a striker like Gyökeres today, even with the better attacking talent that came on? Yeah? I don't know, man. Like Liverpool, sure, they won today, but I think Liverpool, they need more. I think it was a much improved performance from Wirtz in the second half, but again, the bar was so low in the first half that anything above a 4 out of 10 was acceptable. But you know what? There were some nice touches from Wirtz in the second half. And it's still early days for him. Obviously, he's a talented player, but he was honking in the first half. McAllister, yeah, he needs to get back to full fitness because he was honking. Gravenberch, I don't think he was great in the first half, but I think in the second half, I'd say of all the three midfielders, he was probably the one that stood out to me as putting in probably the best of all three performances. But yeah, I think Liverpool, they've got 9 out of 9 points without really playing that well. Bournemouth, they defended horribly, but they were free-flowing. In fact, free-flowing is a bit of an overstatement, if that's a term. But they were able to create more chances against Bournemouth. Newcastle, I thought Newcastle controlled large parts of that game. But Liverpool, they made the advantage count, and they were clinical. And then today, at home, low XG, very unadventurous in the attack, very slow and ponderous build-up at times, not enough in central areas. But when it was time to sort of up the ante and try and force the issue, they did look better. And of course, they had something in their locker in the shape of a Szoboszlai rocket to win them the game. And in the end of the day, when it's a game of fine margins, it does take a moment of quality like that to win the game of football. And they've done that. But yeah, for me, watching that game today reaffirmed one thing for me, which is that I think these two teams are going to be the two teams that are going to be in first and second spot. I'm still going to go for Liverpool to win it, but they need signings, man. They need signings. They won today, but they need signings. When you're looking at their bench, Arsenal were able to bring on Eze and Odegaard, and they had Waneri on the bench, and that's with Saka injured. Saliba went off injured. That Mosquera guy came on, and they didn't miss a beat. They didn't miss a beat. Liverpool, Konate came off, Joe Gomez came on, and he was solid. But Joe Gomez, with all due respect, Joe Gomez is not what he used to be. They need a centre back. They definitely need Isak. They probably do need another attacker as well. So yeah, there's work for those teams to be done. But I would say both teams, for me, look stronger than Man City. Man City, I'm worried. I'm not going to lie, I'm worried. I think offensively, they're always going to have some sort of quality. But the space that they vacate, right? The way they're always sort of running back, the way they can easily get caught in transition, like it's a bit worrying, I'm not going to lie. Because you do need a strong defence. And okay, yes, Kuznov played today. I get it, he's not played in ages. But he was actually defending relatively well. But it's not even just Kuznov. Rodri was in the midfield today. They were dominating the game in the first half. Just like last season, they dominated Brighton in the first half. And then the second half, Brighton just sensed blood. A cheap penalty giveaway from Nunes. And yeah, I don't know, man. For me, I'm not filled with confidence that Man City will win it, but hey ho, let's see. Arsenal, do more offensively.